Mm, mm, yeah. Mm. A mother's heart is the hardest thing you'll ever come across. Her nurturing love will make you feel super soft. I don't wanna ever see you when it's sad. I can't stand the thought of seeing a mother sad. When they took her kids, it tore her apart. For the first time in her life, she was absent of heart. Not knowing where to turn, she buried her head. Is she alive or is she dead? This mama choices she had to make. This was hard for her to do, just to stay awake. Her heart was crumbled, felt no more. Then she heard a loud knock on her door. Sam knows what it's like to be destroyed. It's a feeling that hides behind a noise. She recognizes that you need help. Sam brought you some love for you to feel. She will pick you up, so here's the deal. The first step you must trust is a must. My name is Sam, and me you must trust. Now we can start this journey. Take a breath and wipe away your tears. Make sure now you're all ears. You need to hear the sound of your heart, so you know you're doing your part. Sam's healing journey is for all in pain. She is doing the stuff till she's no longer shamed. She holds her children in her heart. She misses them so much, just like you. Sam does what she needs to do. She's giving up her pain to stand by you. Make sure you listen to what she says. She's truly helping you instead. Together we will all get a bit better. Do what you love, maybe knit a sweater. We all need to heal the way we can. So join this healing journey with Sam. We've got the love, we need it. Sam's got the heart, you'll feel it. Let's heal together. It's our journey here with Sam. It's our journey here with Sam. Yeah, yeah.
Parents who've lost time with their children carry a unique kind of pain. This is Heal with Sam. This space is for parents healing from CPS trauma and ambiguous grief. Dealing with CPS is the hardest thing a loving parent can be forced to do. In a system that isn't designed to protect, but to profit, it can feel like you're going crazy. Join me in a conversation of self-discovery tools, self-care strategies, and empowerment techniques to help you overcome the challenges of life without your children, heal from trauma, gain clarity, and strength.
The heck? Okay, I'm ready. Hi, John. How are you? I'm going to ask you for a feeling word, so you might as well tell me. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. Please use the chat to comment and interact with me. Thanks. I'm Sam. I'm here with Heal with Sam show. And I love that. Thank you for putting that in the comment. I do promote every Saturday at 8 p.m. to be here, ask questions, make comments, get involved in the show. I'm here because of CPS and termination of parental right, and because I'm on a healing journey, because Darren asked me to be. I'm here because I care about parents and families, and I know healing is possible. So this is important to me. I have a topic for today, but I'm going to give it a few more minutes. See if John's got a feeling word or not. I don't. What's my feeling word tonight? I feel aligned. That's my word, aligned. And that's a good feeling. I was just saying how I lost my job for the past 4 years. I've been a server and I lost my job a month ago. And I thought, I would fight for it, but I didn't. Like when my boss said it, it shocked me. But the second after that, I just walked away from it. And I was just like, done. Like I knew didn't even know I was done, but I was done. And now I have 3 months to rest and find out what it is that I'm meant to do. I'm very happy that I don't need that fast-paced job anymore to keep my mind off my grieving, and a place where I was sometimes 6 days a week, and I had to be happy and bubbly to earn my paycheck. Fake it till you make it kind of thing. So it's kind of an honor that I'm not a server anymore, because it shows that I have healed, it shows growth. I don't need that fast-paced job anymore to be okay and move forward. So that's a good thing. Hello, Miss Debbie. So I'm not a server anymore, and I was approved and got my first check this week for unemployment. So I have 3 months to rest, figure out what I'm going to do. But that's the thing. That's why I said aligned. I'm ready to do what I'm meant to do, my sole purpose. And so I'm open to what God has before me, you know? And I don't say that in a lazy way whatsoever. Um, I feel aligned, and I just feel like things are going to work out because I've done the work and I've put in the work and I've put in the healing and I've been good to people, and I know I'm a good worker. And so I just really have faith that God's going to align what's meant to be. One of my favorite quotes is, when you walk with purpose, you align with destiny. So that's where I'm at. It is possible with God to heal, and that is what they do, causing you and me to lose our jobs. And with me, they are and have been preventing me from getting a job. Sophie, Soph Allen, welcome. You have a cold, unfortunately. You need prayers. You got it. I do pray for you for healing and a quick recovery. And John, I'm sorry that they have so much control and power over your life. Um, ugh, they're not good people, CPS. And thank you for sharing. Sharing. It sounded like I said sharing. Thank you for sharing. I do hope you feel better, and I do hope you get your employment figured out. I hope I do too, but I have faith I will. Um, John, I don't know if your case is still open or not. I'm guessing it might still be open. Mine closed 3 years ago. And the topic for tonight is the way mine closed at my TPR hearing trial. Um, my story isn't so isolated. I'm discovering that lots of parents were coerced to voluntarily surrender their rights. I don't know how many parents. Those numbers aren't there to ever know, probably. But I think the numbers are probably higher than I even realize. I've talked to a handful of parents whose lawyers made them surrender their rights. I have a support group where two mothers, lawyers, did the same. And so I was going to share my story with that tonight. Oh, your daughter's case and in criminal court. I'm glad Darren's AI Punisher will include criminal court too. I know that's going to be so helpful for everyone. But so where I'm at currently, my mind wants me to have a backup plan. My mind wants me to put in job applications. And I don't think that's where I'm at. I don't think so. I think God has a purpose, reason for my pain, and I'm ready to explore that through my career, or life's work, however you want to look at it. I definitely wasn't born to be a server. When I was little, I used to say I wanted to heal the world. So kind of ironic, I'm here on a healing show. Oh no, is it Carol's fault? Or to sing Carol? I'm so. Well, I hope it gets better, not worse. Knock on wood, I guess I'll share this. So I'm knocking on wood right now. I haven't been sick in 13 years. Not a sinus infection, not a sore throat. I know it sounds crazy, and I know I shouldn't jinx myself. I know it, but there literally is a wood desk right here, and I did knock on it. 2012, when I had my oldest child, who's in the system, with my abusive ex, is when I haven't had a cold since she was born, and she's 13. She'll be 14 in next month. That's a long time without a cold. That makes me happy. But I certainly hope you feel better very soon. Those around me get sick, and I get to watch them suffer. I feel bad. Let me knock on some more wood. Hold on. Okay. So I was going to talk about termination of parental rights, or like I already said, and the attorney, the parents' attorney, the parents' court-appointed attorneys. Yep, I know you're always mentioning that polygraph. So a parent's court-appointed attorney. It's the, the saying, the phenomenon, I wish I knew then what I know now. That can carry a lot of guilt and regret with it. And so that's kind of where I'm going with this, but I don't believe in regret. And I know not to live in guilt because the system failed me. I didn't fail my children. And when I first started sharing my story, I left out the part where I surrendered, where I voluntarily surrendered my rights. Like that, it never crossed my mind. My case was almost a 3-year case because of because of the last requirement to have my own home, to have my own place. I had depended on a man for decades, and so to establish independence took me almost 3 years. But I did it. Not that it mattered to the state, but I did it. I was very proud of that. I still am. My point is, I fought for my children. I never gave up. It never even crossed my mind to do so. So when I went to my termination of parental rights trial that morning, I went ready to fight. I was scared. I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. I was scared. I was alone, but I showed up. And I had met with my attorney the week prior to go over my trial. I had witnesses there. I had the lady who supervised my visitations for those almost 3 years. My visitations never moved forward. So the lady who supervised me and my children for almost 3 years was there as my witness on my side to speak of the bond and care and nurture and, protectiveness that that I have with my children, for my children. She was a witness, she was there. Um, uh, the case worker for the trauma, rehab thing that they send parents to, she was there. It seemed like m oh, my therapist. So, like, I went there for a trial. The trial began, we all stated our names, who was there in court, and my attorney goes, "I need a 10-minute recess." I didn't know what she was doing, but she and I went into the hallway, and she told me to surrender, and I told her no, I didn't want to. She told me to surrender, and I told her I was what's best for my children. I wanted to raise my children. She told me if I loved my children, I would do it. I will never forget those words. Those were her exact words to me. And this hallway is spinning. I'm in panic mode. I don't know what to do. In this moment, in that hallway, and all the moments leading up, I thought my attorney was on my side. It never crossed my mind that an attorney cannot represent their client. Like, I had no idea. So, in this moment that I'm not wanting to listen to my attorney, I was raised to believe that your attorney was on your side. So, like, I was so confused. Um, but she was presenting no other choice for me, no other options. And so I literally was coerced, which is unlawful. Um, Again, wish I knew then what I know now. In this moment, I knew none of this. In this moment, I just know that I'm in panic, fear, confused mode. And so she goes back into the courtroom and asks for a longer recess. And this POS court accepted my surrender. Like, I don't know if it was in court or after court, but because my memory gets very hazy after this, but that court knew that I didn't want to surrender. Like, they all knew. So, which now I know they're all in on it, but it took me a couple of weeks to or a week to start to see things for what they were, to start unraveling things, and then this made sense, and then going over my case like, oh well, that makes sense kind of experience. So it took me a week at least to unravel all of this, and it's a lot to take in. Plus I just had a TPR, like, I'm devastated. So and what I'm sharing isn't isolated. This has happened to other parents. And there's parents right now with open cases that this may happen to. And so I want to get the message to parents with open cases to be aware. CPS will keep a parent's goal reunification until the very end and then change it to adoption for no reason. And I think that's when their attorney steps in to, persuade them to surrender. And so if you're a parent and you're aware of this, you can be prepared on how to tell your attorney, no, I don't want to. And I recommend to any parent that if you don't want to surrender, don't. You should fight for your child. And there is a way to handle your attorney, I'm sure. So you can still have your trial, present your evidence, and fight. But all of that, takes preparation. And so a lot of parents now do know that's great. But for the ones that don't, like, I just wanted to warn parents that, this is what happens. It's, it's probably more common than I even realized. Like I said, I don't know the numbers, but parents are having to voluntarily surrender their rights. They're treating you now the same way by the system. I know there's the AI punisher is the way around it to get through it, to still fight. Yep. What was I gonna say? Oh, a parent. I want to talk about a parent's guilt after that, or who's been through that. Obviously, it's very heavy, and their grief. So I personally believe that if a parent shows up to visitations and shows up to court, that termination of parental rights should be taken off the table, not even an option. Like, you're going to have to figure this out, state, and use your resources to figure something else out because it's not happening. But that obviously isn't a law because this isn't Sam's land, whatever. But when a parent shows up to visitations and to court, that there alone says so much about their bond, their commitments, their love for their child, you know? And like termination and adoption, those are such finalized things. Termination's like the death penalty. Adoption is finalized. Like, you are very rarely going to overturn an adoption. And so parents who are showing up, they're showing that they love their child, they have a bond with their child and things like that. But they're in a situational crisis. They might be struggling financially, or they may have caught a charge, but it's okay now. I mean, there's endless things that could have happened, but they were temporary. And so adoption and TPR should never be the solution to parenting. You know, it, yeah. But when a parent does experience TPR, in that moment, they're hit with panic and disbelief and a whole bunch of emotions. So much so that I remember wondering, now that I look back, am I even going to be able to catch my next breath? Like, I don't know. Is air coming? I don't know. It's an out of body experience. It hits you so hard. And then once it hits you that hard, it's not done. No, you're a parent. You're going to think about your child or your children. You're going to think about them now and what they're fixing to go through. That's what parents do. And so, as a parent, you feel your children's pain. You worry about your children. You're connected to your children. So, as a parent standing there in a courtroom that just had a TPR, you're wham bammed with your own feelings plus knowing your child's, you know, and just all the disappointment and all the anger and all the heartache. It's horrific. So that parent walks out of the courtroom changed forever, forever changed. Now, a parent like me has to walk out of that courtroom forever changed, with the implication that I gave up, with the implication I didn't want my child, with, if you looked at some piece of paper, you would think I gave up. I didn't want my kids. And that bothers me to my core because it's not true. And a parent and with us who with a story like mine or similar to mine can easily walk out of that courtroom and continue forward with a guilt and blame and shame that is very intense. And I just want the entire world to know if you're a parent who went through that, that you did not fail your children. The system failed you and your children. I mean it. It's the truth. I hope any parent who's been through that can open their eyes and heart to that, because you showed up. You showed up, and it wasn't you that failed. The system failed. One day when my children are adults, I have to share this part of the story with them, and I hope they understand. I hope they have compassion and understanding for me. I think they will, but it's a trauma that's gonna forever haunt a parent, it seems. And so a parent has to be very dedicated with their mindset and their healing, because that is some really heavy shit that I just described, you know? And for me, that's a lived experience. And for you, it may be as well too. And that's some heavy shit. And to survive through that is, and then to survive through that and grow and achieve goals and heal and help others, like, that takes strength, I believe, from God, from within yourself. And if you're a parent who has experienced that and your path forward hasn't been up, it's been dark, it's been backwards, so there I understand and I have compassion, but, like, I beg you to not blame yourself and to understand you're not a failure as a parent. It is never too late to turn your life around. Ever, ever, ever. And I extend compassion to any parent who has ever had to go through that. It's very easy to blame yourself and feel like a failure. So I understand how you feel, but, like, please know it's not you. It's the system's fault. The system failed you, and the system is designed to do this. The system benefits from your surrender. Everywhere you look, any way possible, on every level, the system benefits financially in every way from your voluntary surrender. They don't have to use their time on a trial. They don't have to put in any effort. They don't have to, you know, I was say pay for a court reporter, but that they don't even do that. My trial lasted what? Not counting the recess, 10, 15 minutes. But I wanted those 10 and 15 minutes. I wanted to remember what was said because I don't remember. And so earlier this year, when I was going to reinstate my parental rights, Florida makes you wait 3 years. August was 3 years. Last summer, I went to this court place that I do not like, but I wanted a record, a transcript of my TPR. We don't have that. We don't do that. What? You don't have record of court cases? Like, what? I was supposed to know that, and I was supposed to know to get my own court reporter and pay for my own court reporter if I wanted a transcript. I missed class that day. I didn't know that, so I forgot where I was going with that, but it makes me mad. I forgot where I was going with that. You were never alone. That is so true. Um, my favorite my favorite Bible verse when I began my spiritual journey was in Deuteronomy. Um, I shall never leave or forsaken you. That was one of my first favorites. Um, I'm not going to get into this today, but um, I do like to talk about the parking lot after everything I just shared. when I got in the parking lot, CPR trial, everything I just shared, stepping out of that courtroom into the parking lot to walk to my car. I got a whole story about that parking lot. So John reminded me to say it like that because God met me in that parking lot when I walked out of that building. You better believe it, he did. And some very profound things happened from that courtroom door to my car door. And I wasn't parked that far from the building, but God met me in that parking lot after my termination of parental rights. Thank God. Thank God he did. So yes, God is always there if we allow him to be. We're not alone. Thank you, John. I'm gonna read John's comment. It hits home with me in several places where he says God is tempering you and healing you as the enemy is doing this. You will grow and become stronger, and as they what hate you will learn not to hate them and get accountability that way without fear. Um, in my story, my ex used my children as weapons to hurt me. So my kids were eventually removed from my custody and placed with him, my abusive ex, who didn't raise the kids. Okay, so that was I died that day too. But my ex wasn't done with me. Like you would think like a normal, abuser would take a mother's kids, and feel accomplished and be like, "Go me, yay." Not this. This, what wasn't done there. He kept on. He wasn't done. He took my kids and he took everything else, including my freedom. He took everything from me. So there was the removal of my children, and then there was more like that. It didn't end there. Besides having to be a part of the system and deal with CPS and their bullshit, and my life becoming a chaotic nightmare that I had no control of. CPS had control of everything. Like besides that, I still had this psychopath, you know, destroying my life. Yeah. And everything he did, I never reacted. That's what that made me think of too. God was my vindicator. I believed that um my ex was coming after me, hit after hit after hit. I went to jail for the first time 4 times in, like, 3 months. Um, he turned my family against me at one point. He turned the town against me. He ruined my good reputation, like and he didn't take care of my kids right. He told my kids things about me, 1, that wasn't true, but 2, if they were true, he told my children things about me that you don't say to a children about their mother. I mean, my children were not in a good, safe place, thriving, like CPS caseworker said in court. I about fell out that day. But I never reacted to him, to my ex. I turned to God with all that anger. And I don't even mean anger. I'm talking about rage. I was so angry. Like it scared me. I was so rageful. It scared me. And so, but I took that to God. I never once called my ex and was like, I didn't do that. I didn't call a hitman and be like, look, I'm gonna put the money under the bench. And I didn't do any of that. He never got a reaction from me. Um, uh, Part of that was because God is my vindicator. And another part of that was because I knew if I lashed out at him, that he had my children in his custody. And if I caused him drama and upsetness, that he would turn around and take it out on my kids in some way, you know? So that was a probably even bigger reason I didn't lash out at him, because it would trickle down to my children. But God, as my vindicator, brought me the comfort I needed from not being able to lash out. You know, like I wanted to like get in a ninja costume and just go straight through his glass front door and start taking people out and scooping up my kids and leaving out there, jumping on a boat, moving to a different country. Like I was ready to do every bit of that, but I couldn't. So that was a lot of stuff to have to keep in and not be able to react to. So I turned to God for every bit of it. And I am very proud to say that every single obstacle he threw at me, I overcame. And as I sit here today, I am a better person than I ever was. So thank you. Wiser, stronger, all around, just a person who I've grown to like. Um, there was another part you made me think of when I read that. Accountability. Nobody likes that word. John, don't say that word. Nobody likes that word. Accountability. CPS made me be accountable. Like and the judge too, like they kept throwing that word at me. And I was like, accountable. But it is important to be accountable in life. Absolutely. And I had to really self reflect on that one, because I didn't deserve to lose my children. So what did they want me to be accountable for? Like I and I know the growth in accountability. I know that. So I did self-reflect hard and long and pray about accountability in my life. And, you know, CPS wanted me to be accountable for things I didn't do. That's a hard place to be. So I had to swimmer, through all of that. But when it came to me and God, and I asked myself, how did I get in this mess? I don't ever want to be in a relationship like this ever again. So how did I let myself get here? Okay. And the answer I came up with is depending on a man being financially stable. That's where I think I failed my children. And that's what I have to be accountable for, is depending on a man. But even then, I cut myself slack because we were engaged. We had 4 children, 6 years and younger. Like it made sense for me to quit my job and stay at home. Daycare is expensive. I wanted to be a stay at home mom, but like I should have been able to depend on him. But when everybody's screaming accountability at you, that definitely was what I came up with. Um, and so, like the relationship part, I asked myself, what red flags did I miss? Because I'm never going to do this again. And I was a domestic violence survivor. And as I sit here today and I look at myself 5, 6 years ago as a domestic violence survivor in a domestic violence shelter, my ex had very serious charges that involved very deadly weapons, and 4 of his cases where I was the victim. Like I'm a domestic violence survivor. And um, so I asked myself, what were the red flags that I missed? Oh, I know I was going to say, though, I am a domestic violence survivor, but as I sit here today, I can promise you that no man will ever lay his hands on me again. It's not going to happen. Like it, it's not going to happen. It, and it for the person who is to maybe possibly ever try, we all need to pray for his soul right now because it's I'd like to think I'd never get myself in that situation again, but you never know. But it would only happen one time because I'm not with it. I will crush you. But speaking of red flags, I asked myself, what were the red flags I missed? Like I really don't want to repeat. I really want to learn from all of this. Failure isn't failure in the way that our society presents it. Failure is learning lessons. And so I asked myself, what were the red flags that I missed? And I kept thinking and thinking. I mean, like an hour or more, I'm thinking about what did I miss? And then it hit me. The red flag was that there were no red flags. I swear, I think that's what I missed. Nobody's perfect, but this guy was perfect. And that's just a lesson I had to learn. I don't think that that's something they teach you. I don't think so. But I was with him for 2 years before I moved in with him, and we had a child together. I didn't move in with him until we had a child together, and so we were together for 2 years. We didn't live together, but we were in a relationship for 2 whole years, and this man was perfect, perfect. He fooled me, my family, my 2 sons. I have 2 older sons from my marriage, my high school sweetheart. They were never involved in the system. As soon as CPS started coming around, my 2 oldest sons already had rooms at my parents' house, and I was like, "Go stay with your grandparents for a little while because, you know, uh, that's where you're safest." So they were never involved or a part of the child welfare system. But I mean, this guy was one of my son's baseball coach. He was always helping my family, my grandma who was elderly. Like he seemed perfect. He talked about God all the time. He talked about how close he was to his family. Now he's from Chicago. I'm in Florida, so I didn't know his family. But he was perfect. And it was all an act. So um hello, Michael, Jennifer. Thanks. Peace is where it's at. I say this often, CPS, they can take our children from us, but they can't take our peace unless we let them. Nobody can steal your peace unless you let them. I also share often that my children and I were on, well, my children and I were on a mission to get a home. You know, Me and my kids were good. I went to the homeless shelter for resources. I didn't go to the homeless shelter because I was like at rock bottom and lost. I went there for resources. I needed housing assistance, daycare assistance, and you know, getting a job wasn't an issue. I had just I just left my abusive ex and needed to get on my feet. So they took my kids our second day at the homeless shelter. But prior to that, I I was on the search for a home. Me and my kids needed a house. And I just knew that once we found our home, our place to call home, that I would finally find peace. I just knew that I wanted peace. Me and my kids deserved peace. I was on a mission for peace and I could see it. It was in our home whenever we found it. Whatever we found, I was going to make that house a home. I'm creative like that. And that's was going to be where my peace was. I knew it. And then later on, I learned that it was peace is inside of me. I had it the whole time, didn't even know it. So yeah, peace is definitely from within, and that's what CPS wants. To treat, they want to destroy our families, and then us parents go on with no peace and isolation, no power. And so healing is so important. It gives you your power back. I think sharing your story is probably like the most effective way to get your power back. You know, legal procedures obviously are, but those are kind of rare and difficult right now. Until the Punisher AI comes out, then more more of us will be doing it and it'll be easier. But for the past decades and decades after TPR, parents don't see a lot of hope. But when you speak your truth, it gives you your power back. And when you heal, it does too. And our children need the healed us. So that's why I'm on a healing journey. Oh gosh, John, your kid's mom's like my ex. Using children as weapons to hurt you. The thing about narcissists that learning, like when all this was happening, I didn't even know the term, but in learning about it, there's different types of narcissists. So I don't know if it's for all narcissists, but the ones like, that would use children as weapons to hurt somebody, that's pretty, serious. That's pretty, not good, pretty sick, but they're incapable of love, even their own children. And that really puts it in perspective for me, what we're up against and what we're dealing with. You know, you don't even love your own child, which makes sense if you're using them as weapons to hurt somebody else. You know, when I had my CPS case, I didn't know about the corruption. Within the first 3, 4 months, I began to realize there is something wrong with this agency and their courtroom. I didn't freak out. I didn't dive into studying my rights like I wish I did. That I don't believe in regret, but that is a regret I have. Not immediately using that time away from my kids to learn my rights, but I wasn't even myself. So just compassion for ourselves. But what the hell was I saying? Do we all not do that? Oh my goodness, what was I saying? I don't remember. I lost my train of thought. I know. I finished. Oh, the kids as weapons to hurt other people. When at the, I think it was at the 3 month mark, we had a hearing, and the caseworker reported to the judge that my kids were thriving. And that word still triggers me. I dealt with triggers in the beginning of my healing journey, so I'm really good on my triggers. And I should do a show about triggers soon, but the word thriving is still a trigger for me. Like, don't say thriving around me. Because this caseworker went and told the judge, and this courtroom filled with child experts, supposedly, and professionals and people who care and advocate and know about children, right? There's a courtroom full of these people. Like, that caseworker told the judge that my 4 children were thriving. I'm looking around like, is somebody going to like raise their hand and say, that's a red flag? There's something wrong with that caseworker. That caseworker is lying. Like, what kind of shit sense does it make to have 4 children, ages 6 and younger, who were raised by their mom and never away from their mom for one single day? Dad was always gone. Dad was on the run for 6 months leading up to this. Like, They were used to dad not being there. Our youngest didn't even know. You know, she was 18 months, my youngest, at removal, but he was gone for like 12 months, a year of her life almost. She had no connection with him. So anyway, she was definitely placed with a stranger, with my ex and his girlfriend. Um, my other 3 kids, they weren't with strangers, but they were not with their mother. I couldn't even call them. My ex had my visitations taken. I had to go downtown for visitations, like, it took a month to even see my kids, okay? So, if all 4 children are thriving after being ripped away from their mother and having no contact with her, having these new people who are telling them horrible things about their mother, they would tell my kids, "I don't love them." Immediately took them out of their school that they loved, my 2 older ones, put them in a school, new people, everything new, nothing familiar to them, and you're gonna come to court and tell this whole courtroom of people that my kids are thriving? You don't care about my kids, 'cause that don't even make sense. Not not one nightmare, not one, breakdown, not one concern, not one little hint of missing mom, not one sorrowful night, not one pep talk my kids needed. They were just arriving. And that's a lie. That's a lie. Plus all the stuff I was telling them about my ex, facts, and they didn't care. And they were starting to say I was crazy if I brought it up again. And it took me about 4 months to realize I was the only one who cared about the best interest of my children, that was a lie. That's a lie. I couldn't believe it. A child welfare system, and especially courtroom, that I believed in my whole life. I believed in truth. I believed in justice. I believed in the court system. I believed in the propaganda and bullshit that they taught us about America. I believed in that and identified with that. And so to find out not only is it not true, I had to find out it wasn't true at the sacrifice of my children and my own family life. Don't tell me my kids are thriving, because it's a lie, and every person in this courtroom who's sitting there acting like they believe that should be ashamed. Yeah, it's crazy being treated as a criminal, you know, when you're not one. More lies that I was sold about America, you know, guilty or innocent until proven guilty. No, I immediately realized that I was guilty, or that they thought I was. And so, we got a few more minutes. I've been sharing. I keep feel like I'm saying Sharon's name. And I'm not saying a woman's name or my friend's name. I'm saying sharing. Sorry. Um, I don't know. I hope this helps somebody. I'm working on a guest for next week. I know the holidays are coming up. I really would like to be sensitive about that. Um, at least show you my pink Christmas tree. I was considering boycotting the holidays, and then I didn't want to, but I was considering it. Um, but I know my kids don't want me to, you know, I was considering boycotting it, but not in a trauma depressed kind of way, just in a why not kind of way. Um, plus, anyway, so I did decide to participate when the idea of a pink Christmas tree came to my mind. So I do have a pink Christmas tree, and pink makes me happy. So I'm somewhat getting into the holidays, but I know they're a very hard time for parents. Something that I experienced 100% these past 3 years to this day is I don't know the date. I don't know. It gets me in trouble sometimes. It does, but I don't know the date hardly ever. And it's not because I'm irresponsible. It's not because I am deficient in any way whatsoever. It's because there's a lot of triggers in the dates for me. And so Christmas, I really could just breeze through, bypass Christmas and probably be okay. But those two boys that I mentioned who were never a part of the system, my two sons who I sent to my parents' house when CPS started, coming to my house 16 times in 6 months. Those two boys are now 23 and 22 years old, and they live next door to me. And they are amazing, amazing young men. And they care about Christmas. So I show up for them. God bless God. I think all children are blessings, but God truly blessed me with my 7 kids. I have 5 who were taken, and then my 2 older ones. That's 7 kids I've given birth to. And the statistics, show that one of them should have had a learning disability. One of them should have had, a health issue. One of them should have had ADD, or one of them should have had, some kind of something. No, all 7 of my children are healthy. Of course, my younger ones I haven't seen in 3 years, but I'm sure they're almost said thriving, smack me. Oh my God. I know my children are like their mama, and I know they're getting through this. And I hope that they're having a good life while we wait for our reunion. So, um, as I know, when they were in my care and at birth, all my children that I don't have contact with were healthy. And then my 2 sons next door are healthy, and they're all smart. And I think they're all beautiful, of course. But I mean, what a blessing, such a blessing. I thank God all the time for my 7 blessings. Um, but I have 2 young men that live next door to me who I'm so proud of. I'm proud of all my kids. My kids I haven't seen in 3 years, I'm proud of them too. I know they're doing what they gotta do to survive, and I hope they know I love them and that I'm supporting them from afar. And when we reunite again, I hope they know that I have nothing but unconditional love and understanding for anything that they had to do or choose to do or that's happened. Like, I have nothing but understanding and love to give my kids one day. So I think it's been an hour. I know my mouth's getting dry. I've talked too much. I guess I needed that. Thanks for listening. Um, keep an eye on the WWCPS breaking news website for the AI Punisher that's being launched to help you with your CPS case. Time for families to start reunifying. It's coming. Um, Next time I'll have my pink tree behind me, or I'll take you out to see my pink tree. Um, I don't know, lots of things coming up, but thank you for being here. Thank you. I appreciate that. You got the link. No, I don't think I have seen you on Tiffin the Punisher. I've seen the Angry Citizen and Henry. Those are the only two people I recognize from Darren's show. And well, last week I saw the Warrior Project guy. But I don't do you have TikTok? And I have an email and a Facebook. I don't know what social medias you have, but I would love to put a name, a face with a name. All right, y'all. I guess I'm out of here. My mouth is dry. I've talked too much. I hope it helps somebody. Thank you for being here. And I have a supportive community on TikTok at Sam's Healing Journey. So please reach out to me there. I will see you next Saturday. Bye, guys.
Through the pain
and girls.
When CPS came and took their dreams, Sam's there to mend those shattered seams. She's the light in the darkest hour, guiding moms with gentle power. Every tear, she feels it too, healing hearts, seeing them through. Leave our kids alone, you're breaking hearts. Moms need their children, don't tear them apart. Sam's out there fighting every day for a home where love will always stay. Trauma lingers, cut so deep. Sam's the one who helps them sleep, with a hand to hold and words to say. She brings hope to a weary day. In a small town where the whispers start, Sam's the shield for every breaking heart. Through broken dreams and endless nights, she stands tall and she shines her light. Leave our kids alone, you're breaking hearts. Moms need their children, don't tear them apart. Sam's out there fighting every day for a home where love will always stay. In a small town where the whispers start, Sam's a shield for every breaking heart. Through broken dreams and endless nights, she stands tall and she shines her light.
They said don't fight the system. They said stay quiet.
They were wrong. Lock in. We are exposing what so many have failed to. We are gonna show you what bar attorneys have hidden from all of us. Hundreds of thousands of children and twice that of parents have been lied to and walked down the road of termination. is the death penalty. We're all of the protesters, the ones who fight for the rights of prisoners, dogs, illegal immigrants. Why aren't you coming to the aid of our children and families? Right here in America, every day a child per minute is kidnapped.
And no one cares. We fight alone until today. CPS Punishers mount up. Here comes the CPS Punisher.
Anonymous tip, another lie from one of them. No warrant, no proof, just a badge and a grin. Stealing kids like trophies, thinking they'll win. Mama crying on the porch, daddy in the cage. System wrote the script, but the CPS Punisher just flipped the page. The educator they banned, I see every violation, every forged line, every ex-part hearing, every stolen time. One tap of the app and the truth ignites. Welcome to the CPS Punisher, now we can fight.
CPS and the courts have lied to us all.
The courts will not disgrace the family. CPS Punisher.
Here to avoid the chains and expose the game.
CPS Punisher.
The educator they never wanted you to find.
Punisher.
One tap and their empire cracks. We rise, we take our kids back. The app is called the CPS Punisher. I'm the cape in the shadows, the skull in the night, the binder full of secrets and weapons you all need. Ab initio, watch me void that lie. Fourth Amendment armor, watch the tyrants cry. Falsified drug test gone in a flash. I see Tebio, warrior, due process king. Every parent's hero when the hotline rings. I call it justice. Download the truth, now the system busts us. From the courtroom to the streets, hear the battle cry. The CPS Punishers arrive. Kiss your bar asses goodbye. They tried to silence us, now we're the loudest voice in the room.
CPS Punisher.
Here to avoid the chains and expose the game.
CPS Punisher.
The educator they never wanted you to find.
Punisher.
The children never leave again. Families rise, we never look back. We now use the CPS Punisher. This ain't revenge. This is reunification. This ain't rage. This is resurrection. Open the app. Step into the fight. You ready?
CPS Punisher.
The app you need when they took your kid.
CPS Punisher.
The truth they hid, now the truth gets lit.
Punisher.
Download the power, take back the throne.
Punisher.
You're never alone. CPS Punisher. The educator they never wanted you to find. Void complete. Family restored. The bar is finished. The Constitution will prevail. Judges do what's right. Treason is your penalty.
CPS Punisher.
Here comes the CPS Punisher.
Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents. Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stop the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they must feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look? Abolish CPS.